A group of citizens, former police men, have gone to court in a PIL. They have sought a ban on the media trial, what they say is a media trial in the death of Sushant Singh Rajput. This group consists of lawyers and former cops. They have united to move the Bombay High Court, saying that the police is being vilified. Remember, this comes on the back of a sustained campaign by Times Now that in fact had exposed a number of cover-ups in the case of Sushant Singh Rajput's death.
हमारा कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बारे में हमारा कोई भी पेटिशन नहीं है, कोई कुछ भी कहना नहीं है। सीबीआई हो, नारकोटिक्स ब्यूरो हो या ईडी या जो भी कोई, उस पर उनका अधिकार है। हमें मीडिया रिपोर्टिंग के बारे में भी कुछ कहना नहीं है जो फैक्ट्स बेस हो। हमारा सिर्फ इशू है कि जो मीडिया ट्रायल हो रही है, जो कुछ टीवी चैनल्स अपनी टीआरपी के चक्कर में या कुछ और पर्सनल सेटल स्कोर करने के चक्कर में वो मुंबई पुलिस की जो प्रतिमा है उस पर वो अटैक कर रहे हैं, जिसका बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान पुलिसिंग के ऊपर बाद में होगा। आज नहीं इसे समझ पाएंगे, लेकिन बाद में इट विल हैव फार रीचिंग इम्प्लीकेशंस, क्योंकि जो लोगों का विश्वास है वो नहीं टूटना चाहिए।
All right, joining us live from Mumbai is Tamal Saha and Mohit Sharma. Tamal, first I want to ask you, can you give us more details of exactly what are the directions sought in this PIL?
Well, the PIL essentially is to basically ask media to show more restraint in covering Sushant Singh Rajput case. A section of people represented by the petitioner basically suggests that media should not be covering the story at all. But one would want to wonder, Padmaja, as how many PILs have been filed in the court with regards to role of Mumbai police. How many PILs have been filed in court to question who is that individual who has leaked or who had leaked Sushant Singh Rajput's picture of his body on June 14 as soon as that incident came to light. How many PILs have been filed, or forget PILs, right to information has been filed to understand from Mumbai police as whether it was Mumbai police officials who had leaked those pictures. If not, what action Mumbai police took in dissemination of such a picture, which can be considered to be absolutely infringement to someone's private space, private life, and of course almost insulting the dignity to death of an individual. Also, the question is, there had been glaring discrepancies with regards to the probe that was conducted by Mumbai police. Mumbai police wanted to float this case as a suicide from day one, even though the family had been alleging there is a conspiracy. Even though family in the official complaint has referred to the two words, abetment to suicide and conspiracy. The Mumbai police had also suggested that it was nothing but because of Bollywood mafia, Sushant Singh Rajput took that drastic step. But what investigation has really happened into the drug nexus? What investigation has happened on the role of those people who were there present in the house of Sushant Singh Rajput on June 14? Because it is not for any fun that CBI had been calling those people day in, day out, every day. For the past 14 days,
this would be a very interesting precedent to what the Bombay High Court eventually says. And if this is going to show the way for future such cases as well, and you know what has been called so far justice campaigns, how does one decide? Who gets to decide whether it's a campaign for justice, something like what happened in the case of Jessica Lal, or it's going to be called a media trial? But meanwhile, Mohit Sharma, bring us up to speed with what has happened today as far as the questioning and the ongoing investigation is concerned. Mohit.
Well, Padmaja, what we can tell you so far is the fact that CBI has, finally for the first time called in the doctors who were in fact treating Sushant Singh Rajput, or at least that is what being claimed from Rhea Chakraborty. Their statements have been registered. Father of Rhea Chakraborty was once again called in. His questioning went on for almost 5 hours. Here at the ED where we are standing, we have Varun Mathur as well as Rishabh Thakkar, who both of them are being questioned. It's been almost 9 hours since since their questioning began. I beg your pardon, since 8 hours since their questioning began, and continuously, that is still on. On the part of ED, Zaid Vilatra is somebody whose custody was being sought by NCB because of the fact that his name is something that was linked with multiple cases of drug peddling, and that is something that the NCB was tracking into. Finally, the NCB did manage to recover not just crucial evidence with regards to certain transactions and drug deals that were made, but at the same time they also got through to those very, very crucial drug chats between him and Shouvik Chakraborty as well. So all of those things really today happened, and right now, even as we speak, you have Varun Mathur and Rishabh Thakkar, I beg your pardon, still being questioned even as we speak. So all of those things really happening.
Okay. Thanks very much, Mohit and Tamal, for joining us. We'll come back to you for more updates on what happens. Let me take this question across because it's a very interesting question. What constitutes a media trial? How do you separate it from a justice campaign? Vikram Singh, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, senior lawyer Swapnil Kothari, and advocate in the Supreme Court, Sanjay Hegde, are all live with us right now. Let me put that first question to Mr. Sanjay Hegde. Mr. Hegde, how does one distinguish what's a media trial and what is a campaign for justice?
A campaign for justice would possibly have both sides of the story being told. The way your channel and a few others have framed it as essentially the murder or the unexpected death of one actor alone, and framed it as if the family, his birth family, is his only family which is seeking justice. People can see what is one-sided and what is not one-sided.
Well, in that case, sir, if the lawyer for the other side wants to speak to us, he is more than welcome. If he decides to speak only to selected media, you cannot force him to come and put his side of the story, right?
No.
Two sides need to be told when two sides are willing to speak.
Both sides would have been willing to speak had you not jumped on one side, and you have conclusively jumped on one side.
So let me ask you this. And Mr. Hegde, just a second. I was asking a more fundamental question, but you decided to make it about a channel or me. So let me ask you then a counter question. I would much rather prefer if you decided to stick to the topic and let's not do this personal tutu meme. The more fundamental question is...
You are being personal.
I was not personal at all. I started with a very basic question. You said, no, your channel is doing this and your channel is doing that. I don't see what is being achieved by that. But let me ask you a counter question.
You are one of the respondents
Sorry?
You are one of the respondent parties in the PIL.
Okay, sure. So let it be decided by the court. Let it be decided by the court. I don't think we can sit over here. What you are carrying out can also constitute as a trial of your own by you saying that the channel is responsible. Your channel has done this. How have you decided? Anyhow, see, I did not want to get into this tutu meme. Can I please ask you, when you said Justice for Jessica campaign, now was that a media trial? In that it was pre-decided that this man is the murderer and he must go to jail. How was that decided? Why was that case reopened?
Okay. First and foremost, Jessica was a case of a shooting which there were several witnesses. That was being sought to be covered up. Here is a death which has not been proved to be homicidal to begin with. Yet, you have gone on and on saying that this woman administered him drugs. I've been watching whenever I'm waiting for one of your shows, I see your coverage. Otherwise, I don't see it. But ultimately, the framing is this.
The framing is what?
He fell for this kind of woman who administered him drugs.
No, first of all, I vehemently disagree with that kind of characterization. At no point have I ever said she is the kind of woman who has fed him drugs, etc. All we have said is there is a drug chat where she is seen having a conversation about getting joints or doobies. That's what they have been called.
Now it's a question of protesting too much.
And that
now it's a question of protesting.
You are going to make an allegation, and when I counter you with what I've actually said, you say, oh, she does protest too much. Of course I will protest. If you're making an allegation against me, I will protest it by stating the facts.
exactly. Now consider. You have said so much about that woman and her family. How would she feel? And tomorrow, when the CBI packs up and says it was not a homicide, will you offer an apology?
Sorry,
will
what?
You now tell you, if the CBI packs up and says it was a suicide and it was not a homicide, will you apologize? Will you undertake to apologize to the Chakrabarti family?
Let it be decided by the court, sir.
Yes.
I do not want to preempt what the court is going to say. I said right at the outset that I think this is going to set a very important precedent. I am all for it. But then in the same breath, we have to decide that there should be no campaigns at all, even when you have somebody found wanting in terms of how the probe has progressed. And here it was the family, remember, which came out and said, we are dissatisfied with the probe. All right, let Vikram Singh also come in, because I also need to take a few callers. But Vikram Singh, Sanjay Hegde says, this was a witch hunt. This was a media trial. There was no concept of justice over here. Vikram Singh.
Padmaja, I have the greatest of respect for Mumbai police. But I think it's your job and everybody's job to see and identify the fault lines wherever they are. In this case, the Mumbai police slipped up so badly that it is difficult to explain why and how the circumstances were. Number one, they cleared a suicide even before they were privy to the postmortem report and the inquest. The inquest went on for 66 days. This is, I think, an all India record. Never have I seen an inquest going on for 65 days. Then, what about the hostility with the Bihar police? You're supposed to be reasonably polite. You may or may not agree to what the Bihar police had to say, but the basic hospitality and courtesies were totally missing. Sushant Singh Rajput's mobile phone was kept at the police station for 25 days. Why? Don't you think that vital evidence was compromised? Disha phone not deposited in the Thana and was switched on, and calls were received, but it was not subjected to a forensic audit. The drug network was not examined. Beating around the bush for so many months and doing nothing, at the end of the day, let him cast the first stone who has not sinned before. The Sushant Singh Rajput's family statement recorded, when the fact remains that when you record the statement, you should take pains to ensure that the one who is the signatory understands what you have written. Please, that was not done. So this is one of the few fault lines that I would say, and if you're pointing them out...
And there were fault lines that were first pointed out by the family and were highlighted by the media. I will get Mr. Hegde to respond to that. Mr. Hegde and Manasvi Thapar both, but I think there are a few viewers also who are with us on the phone line. Yes, Mr. Radhakrishnan, what do you make of this topic?
Hello?
Yes, go on, Mr. Radhakrishnan.
Yeah, I think Times Now and Republic both are doing a fantastic job on this. It was much needed, because the reason you have taken up this is because of the inefficiency of Mumbai police. I would say inefficiency because they had some pressure. I don't know what it was. But normally they are a very good investigation agency. But this time they failed very badly. Okay. And there was a need for this to happen. Because otherwise, and this should be as an eye opener for many people. Because in future also, the police, which should be responsible for handling such cases, they should
because
be on
people will be watching.
toes.
All right, Mr. Radhakrishnan, thanks very much for calling in. Ms. Neelam is also with me on the phone line. Yes, ma'am, go on.
Yes, ma'am. What I'm hearing, please don't put down the phone, because I want your panelists to hear all this. What I'm going to say, I'm a 72-year-old woman, senior citizen, who watches all the channels and everything from a very long time. I agree you have done a good job. I agree that the Mumbai police has messed up. That I agree. I don't know who's guilty, who's not guilty. I have seen everything on your channel and on the public channel. I'm mentioning the channel also. But you see, this is the work of the CBI.
Okay.
This is the work of the ED, and this is the work of everything, everybody else. I'm very sorry to tell you one thing. You know, it's such a disappointment was that the Bombay police have messed up. But the way you talk to your panelists, especially to Mr. Sanjay Hegde, this is not right. And Navika, the way she goes high-handed with the flag up in the air.
Okay. All right, ma'am. All right. Thanks very much. I will take your objections into consideration. And with due respect, I try and treat everyone, including Mr. Hegde. I wonder if he will differ, but treat him with the utmost respect. Anyhow, civility is a two-way street, and that's what I always maintain. Mr. Hegde, you have clearly a supporter over there. You're smiling, but would you like to respond, Manasvi Thapar, to what Vikram Singh said, that there were fault lines and those fault lines needed to be exposed? Go on, Manasvi Thapar.
See, the fault lines were yet to be told by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court did not observe anything on this particular matter, and there is no legal order by anyone as of now which says these are observations. We believe that this watch-up is there. We believe that. But the thing is, the kind of opinion which has been hit on us, the kind of opinion and the public sentiment has been created in which Mumbai police is a co-accused. That is the kind of flavor which we are trying to get. Ria is not only an accused, she's a criminal that has been made by the media. That is disturbing. Let the law take its own course of time. Let the CBI is an expert in investigation, and not the media houses are experts in that investigation. So let the investigation be handled by the CBI only. What is happening now in this particular special case since last 75, 80 days, what we have seen is a parallel investigation by the media houses, by the social media houses. Everyone on Twitter and YouTube have become so-called experts in forensic science, so-called experts in police investigation, CBI investigation. They are giving their opinions on each and everything. That is not how the law is going to function. We love Sushant. We want justice for him, but we do not want a quick justice. We want a truthful justice.
You want clean justice. You do not want quick justice. Swapnil Kothari wants to respond to that, but I have to take a very quick break at this point. I'll come back on the other side to Swapnil Kothari and Sanjay Hegde. Give me a minute. Citizens, former cops and lawyers in Mumbai have gone to court seeking a media gag, saying that a media trial should not be carried out in the case of the death of Sushant Singh Rajput. But would the case have gotten to this point where the CBI is investigating had the fault lines not been pointed out? Swapnil Kothari, Manasvi Thapar says, you don't want speedy trial. You don't want, a half-baked investigation. You want the real investigation. And what's happening right now is a half-baked witch hunt.
Well, I disagree with Mr. Thapar there. The reason is why we are into this is because there was to be a real investigation that has not been done, as so very explicitly and expounded by Mr. Vikram Singh. I don't want to get into those because he's already pointed out those flaws. There are quite a few additional flaws there that even after 66 days, the inquiry was never closed. They never even came to saying that it is a suicide. If that's what they wanted to do, they never did that. And before that, it went over to the CBI. That's point number one. The point number two is if you look at the petition talks about Press Council of India Act, Contempt of Courts Act, etc. And then it also talks about the Police Restriction of Rights Act and the Police Incitement to Disaffection Act of 1922. Now, that's a 98-year-old law, which is probably obsolete and odious. That doesn't come into play at all, where, we are inciting disaffection towards the police by bringing out this so-called media trial. And then the Police Restriction of Rights Act says that the police's rights is restricted. They cannot come out into the open. The first point also, apart from all these, that the other point that I would like to mention, Pankaj, is that, none of these police officers, they're all retired. They don't even have a locus standi in the case. That's what they've mentioned in their own petition initially to begin with. Of course, it's a public litigation. I understand that. So if they don't have locus standi, then I can understand, they may have had very years of...
Well, they're talking about the reputation. They're saying it's the reputation of the force that's being sullied.
Exactly. And Pankaj, Padmaja, the point that I'm trying to make is that actually it should be Mr. Parambir Singh and the current investigating officer who should have filed a case in the court, which I could have then understand that, they are saying that, the media is defying us and, but they are not doing it. They have not done that. So why these retired police officers, okay, they feel bad about it, that's fine. But the point is that there is no media trial here. It is because there is a watch-up. It is because there is no investigation that has taken place. The media is...
Okay, let Manasvi Thapar and Sanjay Hegde respond. Yes, Manasvi Thapar, yes, go on.
So, but that's our difference of opinion.
Yeah.
It's a difference of opinion.
So investigation, so media has the right to report what is being investigated. Media does not have the right to report what they want as an investigation. So let the investigation happen and they report that. What is happening in the present scenario is...
There won't be a CBI investigation. There won't be a CBI investigation to report.
Padmajaji, the investigation is in progress. So let this progress come to a final conclusion.
But the progress has happened because to begin with, the media said we need a CBI investigation.
No. It was because of a transfer petition which was filed by Ria Chakraborty herself.
That's not true.
It was not a suo moto.
That's not true, sir.
No, it was not a suo moto case by the Supreme Court. Just because Times Now or some other media channels are saying, let's give it to CBI. It was not this way. there was a transfer petition filed by Riya Chakrabarti, and there was a voice. Obviously, there was a voice. Swapnil ji, I did not disturb. Please let me make a point.
That is not true, sir. That is factually incorrect. But I think we are going to hear much more on this particular topic. So I have to take a quick break at this point. I'm being told to thank all the guests, but this is going to be an ongoing, I'm sure, debate on this channel as well on the next few days. Thanks very much for the time being, all gentlemen, for having joined me. Welcome back. Not just India, now the world has rejected a bid to malign India by linking terror to a religion. On the global forum of the UNSC, 5 countries closed ranks and backed India on rejecting communal profiling of terror by Pakistan. Left red-faced at the FATF, Pakistan is now making a desperate bid to try and tag 2 Indians as global terrorists. In the absence of any evidence to back this claim, this plea was rejected, exposing Pakistan's complete hypocrisy on terror.
There was a proposal from Pakistan to add 2 Indians to this 1267 ISIS and Al-Qaeda sanctions list. This was objected to by some council members, and thereafter the Secretariat blocked this proposal from Pakistan and issued a notification. So what has happened with this is Pakistan's attempt to list all 4 Indian nationals in this 1267 sanctions list has failed. You may also have seen the tweet from our permanent mission in New York thanking the council members for blocking this blatant attempt by Pakistan to politicize the working of this 1267 procedure by giving it a religious color.
Ironically, Pakistan, which has shielded Jaish chief Masood Azhar via its proxy at the UNSC, today tried to tag India as a country which is sending out global terrorists. Complete hypocrisy on the Jaish-e-Mohammed and the issue of terrorism and religious profiling stands exposed. All right, so this is the terror hypocrisy by Pakistan. Who they shield is Masood Azhar, and the people that they want tagged as terrorists are 2 Indians, and both of them you see on your screens right now. Joining us right now is Colonel Rohit Dev, defense expert, along with Dr. Dinesh Varshney, leader of the CPI. It's sad, actually, Dr. Dinesh Varshney, that the entire idea of Hindu terror that was coined in India is now being used by Pakistan in order to try and defame the country on a global platform.
Look, Padmaja, Pakistan will always say the terror on the basis of religion. But in my view and in our view, the terrorism has no religion. Terrorism is directly linked to the extremism, and anybody who protects the extremism or practices extremism of any type is a part and parcel of the terrorism. Whether it's in Masood Azhar or Jamaat-e-Islami or Hindu terror groups or the Vishwa Hindu Parishad or all these things, cow vigilantes, all these things. These are right reactionaries. These right reactionary tendencies always leads to terrorism, always leads to disturbance of the peace of the region, peace of the region, area, country, and internationally. So we have to fight against them. The Pakistani ambassador who was there in the UN, he tried his level best to give it a religious color, but it is good that we have not allowed him for that. We must appreciate the Indian government for this thing. We, all of us are united against the fight against the terrorism.
That's nice, sir, but you should have then spoken up when the whole issue of saffron terror was brought up.
No, terror is here. And
at the highest levels.
What is cow vigilantes, I'm asking you? What is the love jihad?
That doesn't have any religion either.
These are terrorist tendencies.
That doesn't have any religion either, right? According to your own definition, people who lynch do not have a religion. They are criminals, period.
All terror, anybody who link the terrorism to religion is also an extremist.
Okay, I'm glad that you think that way. I'm glad that you think that way, but then that's a mindset that was perpetuated and birthed in India. That argument, Colonel Rohit Dev.
Declining the GDP to 23.9% in minus is also a type of diversion of the attention of the people.
Okay, I don't see what's the connection, sir. So can we please stick to the topic at hand? Yes, Colonel Rohit Dev.
Yeah, Padmaja, you can't be standing at the Wall Street and talk about a piggy bank back at your home. this is a very serious issue. Pakistan has tried to create a kind of a narrative and involved India as a state which is involved in terrorism. We saw it with the illegal handpicking of Kulbhushan Yadav. Pakistan is the nerve center of terror, and time is now ripe that it has got nerve-wrecked actually how to prove its innocence. It goofed up last year by before the FATA judgment. It had Masood Azhar gone missing in action in Pakistan, a terrorist who has been shielded, brought up and encouraged by the Pakistan state, deep state, army and the polity. So such a country going to UN and trying to mock at 1267 without understanding the functionality of that committee itself and having no evidence after having given a chance with 4 out of 5 permanent members and an Indonesian being on the chair, if they can't get it through, I think they should stop doing this tamasha on a world platform and make a fool of themselves. It's high time that Imran Khan understands that the joke will not carry on. What is apt as is go and beg to China, he can do that, but that is going to happen to the world stature of our country and to make these baseless allegations without evidence. And it's been clearly brought out in the resolution today as a small report to the UN that there were evidences were lacking. So what are you going to the Committee of Nations there? The other part is India is doing a good thing. We are trying to say forget Kashmir now in the US agenda. So in the UN agenda, when Kashmir is forgotten in the next 1 or 2 years, and I'm quite sure it will go through, I don't know what these brain-wrecked Pakistanis will do there sitting in that political hot seats, which are stooges of the military there. So they need to get their act together. And I don't want to get into the level on a debate when we're talking about a UN Security Council and coming down to a piggy bank politics of a cow vigilante. That doesn't augur well for a debate. So I'm not getting there. So if you have to ask anything more on this UNSC, let's go ahead. In my understanding, Pakistan should shift the standard.
With due regard to Colonel Rohit Dev, with my due regard to Colonel Rohit Dev, I would like to ask him, isn't the politics governs the nations? And when the politics governs the nation, which politics will govern the nation? The politics of using the bogie of the religion or bogie of the terrorism or bogie of this thing, whether ISIS or Taliban or Masood Azhar or the terrorist type of groups in India which practice the fascistic policies like cow vigilantes and love jihad and this bogie of this. What is this? These are being patronized by these states. All these must go.